Accurate, reliable, getting the facts right. News 5 in high definition starts right now.
Sirens and a crash and a tire screeching, and we call 911, and there's an accident on 81.
A police pursuit comes to a crashing halt in Bristol, Virginia, but it wasn't quite over yet. What you're looking at is video we were able to track down from a man who witnessed it all unfold from his own backyard. Good evening, and thanks for joining us for News 5 tonight at 11. I'm Julie Newman. We have been on the scene and staying in touch with police, doing everything it takes to bring you the very latest on this developing story. Here's what we know right now. Police tell us they tried to pull over a car around 6 o'clock this evening for reckless driving and failing to signal. But instead of pulling over, we're told the driver hit the gas heading toward exit 10 on Interstate 81. And that's where police say the suspect slammed into another car. Now, everyone in that car was okay. Police arrested the driver right there on the scene. But before they could arrest the passenger, he took off running. They found him hiding in a man's backyard off of Enchanted Lane. News 5's Maggie Smolka was there on the scene. And Maggie, you talked to a homeowner who witnessed this whole thing. This must have been quite a surprise for him.
Julie, it was crazy because he was just grilling on his back porch, thinking that it was just a normal Friday night, making some hamburgers, when all of a sudden it turned into chaos. And we caught up with him just minutes after police left the scene. Eric Knapp was cooking burgers in his backyard when all of a sudden
This guy appears down here near my barn, between the truck and the barn.
Knapp reached out to us, and we caught up with him at his house, arriving minutes after the arrest. He was clearly shaken up by the whole twist of events, especially after police told him the suspect was armed. Now, during this whole ordeal, did you stay inside, or did you...
Part of the time we locked all the doors. Part of the time.
But then, he and his neighbors got a little curious and wanted to try and catch a glimpse of the suspect, hiding in these woods.
It was right down, this thicket is so thick and so covered with pricker bushes that he wouldn't get too far, and he didn't get far. And my friend heard him, and she said, "That's not a deer. He's back down in there," and the cops got him.
He snapped this video that only we got to see. Hear the dozens of police officers combing the area. A chopper was even brought in to search the scene. But finally, after 2 hours, Knapp says a canine was able to track down the suspect, and here he is walking into the back of a police car.
They pulled him up here, and they had to bring an ambulance in to bandage this guy up. He got kind of chewed up.
Something Knapp says was a crazy end to his Friday night.
This place is kind of dangerous around here.
Now, police tell us they found drugs and guns in the suspect's car, Julie.
Now, Maggie, obviously there was some evasive driving and all that and some things found in the car. Do we know if any charges have been filed?
At this time, we're not sure about the charges, but of course, as always, we'll continue to keep you posted as we learn all of the latest information.
Please do. Thanks so much, Maggie. In other news tonight, a curfew is put into effect in Charlotte, North Carolina for a second night in a row. This after protesters filled the streets for a fourth night in a row. They're protesting the police killing of an African-American man. Now the question remains, when will calm be restored? Jay Gray has the latest from Charlotte.
Hundreds of protesters gathered again tonight in uptown Charlotte. The march at one point reaching Interstate 277 before being turned away by police in tactical gear. 3 days after police shot and killed Keith Lamont Scott, the frustration is still building here. Adding to that anger,
don't shoot him.
This dramatic cell phone video released today by his family, showing the confrontation between Scott and Charlotte police, officers shouting at him to drop what they perceive as a weapon.
Don't shoot him.
Scott's wife rushes to the scene, telling officers Scott has a traumatic brain injury.
He doesn't have a gun. He has a TBI. He's not going to do anything to you guys. He just took his medicine.
She screams at her husband.
Keith, don't you do it. Don't you do it. Keith.
Then, seconds later, the shots are fired.
Did you shoot him?
The images are disturbing and difficult to watch.
My gut reaction was pure sadness for anyone to have to go through that.
And the new video has stepped up the call from protesters for police to release body and dash cam footage of the shooting, something Charlotte's mayor called for again tonight.
I have asked to have that released, and I understand that it is not a complete picture.
The complete picture. It's something so many want to see here as the investigation continues. Jay Gray, NBC News, Charlotte.
In just under a month, a man convicted of murder earlier today will find out how long he'll be behind bars. Mario Keene is facing up to life in prison. News 5 was there when the trial started. The jury found Keene guilty of hog tying and beating to death 69-year-old Donald Gunter. Amanda Harris admitted to her involvement in the case, and she testified against Keene. She has been sentenced to 25 years in prison for second-degree murder. Keene remains in jail right now and is set for sentencing on October 21st. A community comes together to remember a Sullivan East High School student. Thomas Trent took his own life on Tuesday. His friend said he had been bullied at school, and his father tells us he was facing other personal issues on top of that. News 5's Tiana Bonner was there at the Patriots' home game tonight for a blue out. Tiana?
Julie, this game was about more than just football. It was not only a chance for the community to remember Thomas Trent, but also a chance for students to start talking about suicide prevention and bullying. 14 balloons for 14 years of Thomas Trent's life. On Friday night, the community remembered the Sullivan East freshman.
Anytime anybody was upset, Thomas always said, "Smile more."
Students who didn't even know Thomas wearing blue, his favorite color. A tribute to just how many lives this tragedy has touched.
I've been bullied a lot before, and it just feels like I needed help.
And attached to these balloons,
Keep on smiling, stay strong.
Messages of hope.
Whenever they land in somebody's yard, maybe they're going through a hard time, and they're going to get the notes that we put on them. We need to stand up for people. We need to stand up for all those people that were getting bullied.
Thomas's dad, Jeremy, tells us he's been overwhelmed by the community's support.
I wish that people would show that same love and support before things like this have to happen.
And he doesn't want the focus to be on blaming anyone.
The fact of the matter is he had a lot going on in his life, and bullying was just a part of it.
Rather, starting conversations.
Talk to your children. You know, don't wait till too late to talk, because you don't get that moment back.
To prevent this from happening again.
That's what he would have wanted. He didn't hate anybody. He helped everybody, and I'm going to maintain his legacy.
And another way the family is continuing that legacy is by donating his organs. Thomas's celebration of life will be at Highlands Fellowship in Bristol, Virginia on Monday. If you'd like more information or to help the family, you can visit our website, WCYB.com. Julie.
Thank you for that coverage, Tiana. And now meteorologist Chris Michaels will be right back after the break for a look at your Storm Track 5 forecast for your weekend. Stay with us.